Hello, my name is Jacob, and today I'll be discussing port operations and water freight transport in the Australian maritime industry. Australia is an island nation, and approximately 98% of its trade by volume moves through ports. These facilities are essential to keeping both the domestic economy and international trade flowing. In this presentation, I'll explain how port and water freight systems work together, explore their key challenges, and highlight their importance to the national economy. As someone who works in the international freight forwarding, I see firsthand how crucial reliable ports and shipping networks are to ensuring our clients' goods arrive on time and in good condition. When things go wrong at the port, it affects everything down the line. Ports and water freight transport are deeply interconnected. Ports, they serve as the entry and exit points of all maritime cargo. Everything from bulk commodities like coal and iron ore to containerized goods like electronics and food. Freight operations depend heavily on how well ports are managed. Efficient ports reduce turnaround times, lower costs, and improve trade reliability. Additionally, ports are integrated with other modes of transport, such as road and rail. These intermodal connections are crucial for getting cargo from the ships to markets efficiently. In my role at Jazz Forwarding, I coordinate with truckers and customs brokers daily. If the port is delayed, every link in the line of chain suffers. From missing delivery deadlines to storage costs, it's a constant judging act between the communication and timing. In practical terms, Australia's maritime freight operations are dominated by bulk exports and container imports. For example, Port Hedland handles the majority of the country's iron ore exports, while Gladstone focuses on LNG. On the import side, majority ports like Melbourne and Port Botany process containers filled with machines, vehicles, clothing, and electronics. To move these goods smoothly, ports must operate efficiently, with proper scheduling, maintenance, labor, availability, and the right infrastructure in place. Despite their importance, both ports and maritime freight operators face several challenges. First, congestion and delays remain a significant issue, especially as vessel sizes increase. Second, workforce issues like skill shortages and an aging maritime labor force are ongoing concerns. Environmental challenges are also arising. Regulations such as the IMO of 2020 sulfur cap have forced ports and ship operators to adopt cleaner fuel practices. At the same time, cyber threats and outdated digital systems create new vulnerabilities, making cybersecurity a growing priority for port operators. Personally, I've had shipments delayed due to customs system outages and port terminal disruptions such as industrial actions. And these bottlenecks cause frustration for customers expecting just-in-time delivery. Another issue we're starting to face is the increased reliance on legacy systems that aren't compatible with modern freight platforms. For instance, some port terminals still rely on outdated scheduling softwares, leading to miscommunications and delays. From a staffing perspective, there's a real need to attract younger talent into the logistics and maritime sectors. Many of the seasoned professionals are nearing retirement, and there's a growing skill gap that's hard to fill. The performance of ports and freight systems has direct consequences for Australia's economy. When port operations are disrupted due to strikes, weather, or technical faults, The ripple effect can be seen across supply chains and retail markets. That is why investments in automation, digital tracking systems, and infrastructure upgrades are essential. These improvements reduce wait times, cut emissions, and increase capacity. In a globalized economy, countries with efficient ports are more competitive, and Australia needs to stay ahead. From a freight forwarder's perspective, supply chain reliability is everything. Our clients plan inventory, marketing, and retail rollouts around expected delivery times. When port systems are under stress, it affects planning across entire industries. Disruptions are not always predictable, however. A severe weather event last year in Queensland closed down port access for nearly a week. That one incident delayed several container ships, disrupted production lines, and led to an overflow of containers at nearby terminals. The economic ripple was felt for weeks after. Ports and maritime transport contribute significantly to the national economy. The sector supports over 80,000 jobs directly and indirectly enables over $400 billion worth of trade each year. Ports also use regional industries such as agriculture, mining, and manufacturing by connecting them with international buyers. Without an effective maritime system, Australia's export-led growth would stall, and the prices for imported goods would rise. At Jazz, we work with exporters and importers across a range of industries. From auto parts to food to textiles to machinery, ports are the lifeline to international trade. I've seen firsthand how rising freight rates caused by port inefficiencies or global supply chain shocks impact small businesses. One of our clients, an importer of specialty kitchenware, had to raise prices after the shipments were delayed for weeks. It's a reminder that port performances isn't just a national issue. It affects everyday consumers. In conclusion, port operations and water freight transport are essential to Australia's prosperity. Their interdependence means that any breakdown in one area affects the other. Facing growing challenges from labour shortages to climate change requires proactive investment and coordinated strategies. If Australia continues to modernise its port infrastructures and maritime systems, it will remain a global leader in efficiency and sustainable trade. As a freight operator on the ground, I believe strong partnership with port authorities, shipping lines, and freight companies are vital. The more we collaborate, the more resilient and efficient our supply chains become. These references I use for this presentation include both academic sources and government reports, such as those of Stopford, Alderton, and the Department of Infrastructure. I've also drawn on my professional experience at Jazz Forwarding to provide real-world insights into how port performance directly affects freight forwarding operations. These sources provide critical insights into the structure, function, and future outlook of the maritime and port logistic industries in Australia. Thank you for your time.